Good. All right, so we're just gonna get started. I hope you have everything you need for the retreat around you. And we're going to just ground ourselves into the space. And so just finding to see if you can get a little bit more comfortable into the space that you're in. And in this moment, you can close your eyes completely or soften your gaze. And just take in notice on the space around you. Making sure that your posture is upright, but not too rigid. Shoulders down and back. And now I invite you to just bring attention to your feet and how the feet is in contact with the ground. And just noticing what the ground feels like to you. Just taking that moment to just be present with the ground as your feet is in relation to it, in contact with it. Maybe noticing if you have shoes on or socks, or just having your bare feet, just really being present with the body, what's on the body. Now moving up to the legs and the buttocks, and just noticing the contact this area has with the seat beneath you. Maybe you feel the fabric from your clothes onto the skin of your body and what that feels like for you. Notice the position of your hands. Maybe you just want to wiggle the fingers just a little bit. Slide in the palms of the hands up and down gently on the legs, just beginning to feel that texture. Whether it's on your bare legs or clothing, just beginning to just feel what's present for you. Maybe you can ask yourself, how do I know I'm here right now? And just coming up to the shoulder area, just dropping it down even more. Thinking deeper into the comfort of your seat, the seat that you will be in during this retreat, and seeing how much more you can be supported by this area. And now I invite you to just take notice of your breath, the inflow, the outflow. noticing where it's the most easiest to detect this breath. For example, if you inhale, maybe you feel the coolness in the back of your throat. On the exhale, you can feel that breeze on the top of the lip. Maybe you can feel on the inhale, the expansion of the chest or abdominal area. And on the exhale, how it all sinks back into its normal pace. So just spending some time here, just being with the breath and seeing if you can notice the breath, how it breathens you in the body. And if you find it hard to connect to the breath, especially in the abdominal area, you can always place your hand over your stomach and your chest, just so you can begin to feel the movement of the breath, the rising and falling of the chest and abdominal area. The breath can be used as this anchor to bring us back to this present moment. So find yourself getting lost in thoughts or sound. You can use the breath to come back. You can even take notice of the inhale and exhale by saying, I am breathing in and I'm breathing out. You can even name if you find yourself distracted, oh, I'm thinking, and then come back to the breath. So just spend a few moments just exploring with the breath. And in a few moments, I'm going to ring the bell to bring us back into this digital space. And when you're ready, you can open the eyes, coming back here into this space. All right. How is that grounding?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
So, yeah, with this retreat, I really wanted to focus on self-compassion because it's been like the major theme for me this year. And I wanted to just share this because I noticed that not even from myself, but from people around me, that sometimes we can be our own worst critic, like always talking down on ourselves and or just feeling guilty of receiving even from others. And I wanted to just bring us to this space where we can just practice making it okay to be compassionate and loving to ourselves. So you already know me, and I'm so happy to see you, and really hope that this can be a space of refuge for you for the next few hours. Even though it's a digital space, feel free to turn off the screen whenever you need to, just to be kind to your eyes. This right now, we're starting the practice of compassion. So whatever you need, honor that. And you can just turn off the screen and I'll just keep it flowing and going, and you come back when you want to. Yeah, so before we dive deeper, I just want to center myself and invite you as well to call in anybody, if that feels right for you, to assist you during this retreat. So for me, I want to just call in my ancestors and to have them around me to support me, to guide my tongue, and I, deliver this message from a real divine space, just paying honor to the benevolent spiritual guides and the Dainos that I'm connected to, the Caribs and the Araraks, and all of them who have done their best to preserve the essence of this earth and who has left messages for us to enter this journey to remember our whole self and to remember our connection to the earth. So I'm calling them in, and I'll leave you space if you want to call in any energy, or even people who are here still in the physical, to help support you and make you feel even more safer to dive deeper. I also want to just name the teachers, different teachers of this tradition who have really dedicated their lives to pass this lineage, the teachings, the philosophies, the practices. So I'm really grateful for them because what I am sharing here comes from the Buddhist tradition. And although I'm not a Buddhist, they made it so that anybody can utilize these practices. And so I'm grateful for them. And I just want to name that too, just given all the respect.
Yeah.
So I hold this compassionate witness to my inner and outer experience in this moment. I hold compassionate witness to the light and the shadows within me, and the simplicities and complexities of life. And I just hold this compassionate witness for you and Tina for being here today. So I thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So have you ever been on a retreat in any kind, like even if it's not silent?
Not like a church retreat once.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did it was just like, it wasn't like a specific religion per se. It was just like whether you identified as like spiritual or grew up in whatever religion. So like I grew up Catholic, but that's not necessarily what I practice, you could say. So it was just all of us like from different upbringings and spirituality. So I did that type of retreat. That was like several years ago, like 3 years ago. So that was probably like the last one and only one. And I've done like classes. just like a workshop or two, stuff like that, but never something like this, which I was going to ask, because I was like, wait, so can I talk? Like, I don't know what to do. So yeah, so I guess no in this way. And the most recent one was like a spiritual one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for this one, it's a semi-silent retreat.
Mhm.
I've done a 10-day silent retreat before, super intense but wonderful. And so here, because I tailored it to beginner silent retreaters, retreatants, I will be guiding us through some of the meditations and leaving space for you to be silent and practice with your meditation. I am asking for all questions and sharing of insights to be towards the end of the retreat, so around 3 p.m.-ish, where we come together and just discuss what came up for us, and if you have any questions. I do have a gathering guideline for the retreat. So let me see if I can share that. I'll just read it. So what these guidelines is just to help us have some structure so that the energy is just flowing right. So together we honor these guidelines to create a safe and sacred space by bringing in kind awareness and full compassion. So honor yourself. When speaking, when we do come to that moment and there's a group of us, practice focusing on self. So use I statements when speaking and sharing. And show up as you are. I try to create a safe space for us to just show up and be free. No matter how you're coming into this space, it's all welcome. And balance discomfort and safety. So during these practices, like for example, when I went on my first silent retreat, it was uncomfortable, but there were moments where I knew when to pause in that discomfort. And there were moments when I knew to just completely let go and then come back when I was ready. So honor that moment. If things come up for you that is too heavy, you can go back to that first practice where we went with the breath and just say, I just need to just breathe and not go there right now. So just honor that. You have the right to pass. So if I ask any questions or if you don't want to say anything, that is your right. This is total sovereignty in this space. And we honor each other. So whatever is sharing here is confidential. And I'm asking for us to not share what's been said here in outside spaces. And yeah, and just honoring the space that I am trying to provide for true liberation, transformation, and healing. And that's that. So before we get completely started, do you have any questions before the silence begin?
No, I think that was my bigger question, like the biggest one I had. And then like the rest, I'll just go with the flow.
Okay, cool. And Tina, hi. If you have any questions, just let me know. And you can also utilize the chat if that feels comfortable for you.
Yes, I will be opening my camera in a few minutes. It's just like I work late and I always slept, but I am getting to it at the same time that but no, and thank you just for hosting this and, having this space, but I will be visually available in.
Yes, no pressure. Sis. Thank you.
One question just came to mind, actually. Earlier, you said, I hope you have everything you need around you. Is there anything I need around me?
Oh,
I don't know if I missed a
yeah.
list. I have my journal and like stuff and like water and stuff, but I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, so I was also mentioning for comfort, meditation pillow or a chair, wherever you're sitting, a yoga mat. There's going to be movement, And you have the journal. I was also mentioning like anything ceremonial that you normally use, like sage, palo santo, incense. You can have that as well. And what else? Oh, and for our lunch, we're gonna take lunch at 12:10. So I was just mentioning not so heavy or oily foods. So whatever you eat, I'm gonna guide us like briefly before we go into lunch on how to mindfully eat. And that's it. So,
Okay. So yeah, I'll need a minute to get my mat,
okay, cool.
and then I'll be good. Give me one
Mhm.
second. All right, thank you.
Oh, and Tina, I was saying there are other people, there's like 5 more that's supposed to come in. So I set it up to where it's muted, and I hope I did it right, but just in case it, just to let you know so that it doesn't disrupt your practice. I
No, but
tried to.
because I was like, I wanted to come in just really slowly, and I'm like, oh, it's always a mute, so that's perfect.
Okay, good. Yes, it worked. Okay, good. All right. Beautiful. All right, so hmm. So again, I welcome you to this space of coming back to our wholeness and really embodying this place of tenderness and care and love fully and authentically. And so for the remaining until 4 p.m., we're going to go through a series of meditation practices in the Vipassana insight tradition. And so with the Vipassana insight tradition and what we know it as mindfulness, we're really practicing bringing not only concentration into our moment-to-moment experience, but I included this compassion practice to help us awaken and open the heart. So it's this unification of the mind and the heart, and really helping us to really embody our full wholeness. So to begin, we're going to focus on mindfulness of the breath and body. And this is the first foundation of mindfulness. And I didn't recognize how important it was to have this first foundation until I actually started practicing. And before it, I would dive straight into like feeling, and it would be so overwhelming because I recognized that I wasn't fully safe within my body. I didn't know how to be with the breath and allow that breath to be my friend. So with the breath, the mindfulness of breath and body, we are kind of tuning our vessel, really tuning the breath and really bringing this awareness to the body. And I find this very important so that we can feel safe to know that we have this vessel and we have this breath. So when we do practice with strong emotions and strong, overwhelming thoughts, we have a place of refuge right here inside of us. So just seeing if you can find yourself 5 to 10% more comfortable, finding a position that allows you to be alert in the spine, but not too stiff, just a nice flexibility there. Feeling relaxed, finding just different ways to position the body so that you can feel comfortable. Inviting you to close your eyes, to soften your gaze, and just begin to establish a sense of presence. Now allowing your awareness to scan through your entire body and just noticing if there are any areas of tension in the body. And if there are areas of tension, physical tension in the body, see if you can bring the breath to that area to soften that space, to release that space of tension. You're also invited to take in deep, full breaths in and out. And then going back to a natural breathing rhythm. And just playing with the full deepness of breathing in. And then just noticing what the breath is like naturally. And as you're exploring the breath, just paying attention and seeing if you can find where the breath is easiest to detect in the body. Where can you feel the breath in relation to the body? Preparing us to invite the breath to be our home base, our anchor to the present moment. And then noticing the breath right here, right now. For some people, the breath is a challenging anchor. And that's okay because we can build the capacity to be with the breath. But if you find that the breath is challenging to be with in this moment, you can bring your attention to a different anchor, such as a sensation in the body. Maybe the sensation in your hands, or just noticing how the entire body feels in this present moment. Now, with a relaxed, interested attention, discovering what the sensation of the breath or your chosen anchor feels like moment to moment. Where is your attention now? Each time that you notice that your mind has wandered off, you can bring your attention, your awareness back to your chosen anchor, which is the breath or sensations in the body. So in this practice, it's not really about getting rid of thoughts. In this practice, we're bringing this concentration first to an anchor, to the breath or sensation, to help us come back to the present moment. So if you do think, that is just part of your present experience. But the key here is to not get lost in the thought, but to recognize it, to see if it brings some insight, and then to use the inhalation and exhalation to bring you back to your present moment, or using the anchor of your choice to bring you back. And now we're going to scan our body and notice if any particular sensations are strong in the body. What sensation in the body is calling for your attention right now? Where do you feel this sensation? If you're feeling any sensation at all. But if you do feel any sensation, what does it feel like? Perhaps you feel the body heating, or you feel chills, tingling, aching, vibrations. And whatever sensation you're feeling, just with a soft, open awareness, just noticing the feelings, the sensation just as they are. And then naming, if you can, if this is a pleasant sensation or unpleasant sensation. And when you bring attention to this particular area of felt sensation, with this awareness, does it become more intense, or does it start to dissolve? Notice if there's any changes. When the sensations are no longer strong, return to the mindfulness of breath or your chosen anchor. If you find it difficult to stay with any strong emotion, sensation, you can use the breath to help you be with them. You can invite the breath to help you balance your awareness with the sensation, to see if there's a space of openness there, curiosity. Maybe visualizing the breath, holding your hand to help you feel safe to, again, name these sensations, describing your experience. Tightness in the chest, perhaps, ache in the lower back, heaviness in the neck or shoulders. Just noticing what word mentally comes to you, and just with a soft tone, just repeating that word just in the background. To go a little deeper, you might ask, what is happening inside of me right now? Notice what sensation comes up as you ask this question. What is happening inside of me right now? And can I be with this sensation? Is this too strong? Or is it subtle? Can I just let this present moment be just how it is? Now, returning to your home base, the breath or the anchor you have chosen of a particular sensation. I invite you to offer now a calm and steady attention. If during the last minute or so, strong sensations are calling your attention, just letting your primary anchor, your anchor of choice, to recede. Focusing on the breath. Then coming back to that sensation. Then back to the breath or anchor of your choice. Then back to that sensation. Naming if you can, noticing what's arising. And if there's nothing strong or there isn't any sensation calling for your attention, just continue to rest in your home base, your anchor of your choice. Now we're bringing the breath to the foreground while we're still being fully aware of any sensations, or fully aware if there aren't any sensations. And what we did here is just learn how to be centered, how to be balanced, and how to be present with the breath and with our current present experience with sensations in the body. In a few moments, I'm going to ring the bell to help us transition to the next part of our retreat. So during this next part of the retreat, we're going to practice stand-in and walk-in meditation. You don't have to, walk all over your space, but just finding maybe 10 steps or whatever feels comfortable for you. And stand-in and walk-in meditation is extremely useful in helping us ground. And so just giving you some time to, again, I'm going to guide us through and then create some silence, some space for you during your practice. But with this walk-in meditation, you could, as we're practicing here in this space, you can always use this when you're walking outside, or you just, want to take a stroll in the park, going to work. And it's very helpful to practice this to help us now become present as we're outside or interacting. So we're going to stand. I'm just going to stay right here for a bit, but guide you as you stand. Okay. And then we're just going to have our hands by our side, wherever feels comfortable for us. And then just begin to, what I like to do is just lift one foot at a time, just really beginning to feel the surface beneath me. Swaying side to side, becoming more alert as we begin our walk-in path. And you can even take a look around your surroundings, just gazing around you, seeing what's present for you. And so we're going to soften the gaze. We're going to keep the eyes slightly open here because we don't want to bump into anything. But you're going to begin to take really short and slow steps forward. And just noticing how the foot, one foot at a time, is in contact with the ground as you lift the other foot to now reach the ground. With each step, feel the sensation of lifting your foot and leg off the ground. Maybe the ground represents earth. You can feel yourself grounded into the space. And before you turn back around, just take a moment to pause. Just pause before turning around and taking that breath and connect to the breath and noticing that interesting moment of pausing, and then slowly turn back around and begin taking your steps again. And here with this practice, we're not trying to get anywhere special. We're just walking in our presence. So we're going to continue to do this walk-in meditation for the next 10 minutes or so. And remembering to pause before we turn around to walk the opposite way. Still using our breath as an anchor or another anchor of your choosing. And if you find yourself in thought again and just noticing, you can name that by saying thinking or wandering, planning. And then come back to return to feel your next step. Your next step with the breath. With each step, we are coming back to where we have been, from where we have been. Using each step to help us feel fully alive and awakened, really present. Noticing from heel to toe what it's like to take that step, what it's like to be present with this step. Maybe with one step inhaling and with the other step exhaling. Pausing before we turn. Full inhalation and exhalation, and making our way back. Maybe you're even thinking about the practice itself. Maybe you're feeling tired. So just staying centered and steady as the wave of these experiences rise and fall with each and every step. Really using this practice to truly begin to be present. Present with the body, present with the heart, present with the mind, present with our environment. Present as we move through life. A true gift to be present here. I love this practice because it helped me to really pay attention to my environment outside of these doors, to really pay attention to the leaves, the birds, the clouds, even the smallest insect. And if the mind has wandered again, remind yourself of each and every step that you're taking. Maybe connect that step to the breath. Softly saying, breathing in, one step. Breathing out, another step. Breathing in, one step. Breathing out, another step. And then let's slowly making our way back to our seated position, but not sitting down yet, just standing up still. Before we sit down, we're gonna stand. And then again, noticing the earth beneath you, the ground beneath you. Noticing the weight of the body. Noticing the quality of the breath. the home base, or just noticing the anchor of your choice. With this practice of standing and walking meditation, we are really training ourselves to be fully alive and awakened to every single step and breath we take. Really enjoying or being with every single moment of our experience. Beautiful. We can sit down. All right. We are flowing. So next is a lunch break. So I have the lunch break from until 1:10 p.m. So before we go into lunch, again, just keeping with that silent practice as you walk to the kitchen. Remember the walk-in meditation, preparing your food. You can start to begin to have this mindfulness practice with connecting with the food, noticing what's on your plate, noticing whether you cooked or ordered, what is in front of you, the colors, the texture. And then maybe offering some thanks to all the hands that prepared all the ingredients that's on your plate, whether those who tended to the earth to help harvest or take care of the soil so that they can plant the food that you have in your plate. If it's not fully vegan, if there's an animal, maybe thanking that animal, just giving thanks and being mindful of what you're eating. And let me just close this part. Yeah. Okay. And so I just wanted to share something. Can you see that? Okay, good. So there was this saying from the Buddhist tradition about mindful eating, and it states, with wise reflection, I eat this food, not for play, not for intoxication, and not for fattening, not for beautification, but only to maintain this body, to stay alive and healthy, to support the spiritual life. Thus, I let go of unpleasant feelings and do not stir up new ones. Thereby, the process of life goes on, blameless, at ease, and in peace. So may you receive the blessedness of your meal and be mindful of it. Also, I want to share a practice too. When you have the food in front of you, before you pick up the fork or the spoon, just really take a nice deep breath in. So I had the first part of this retreat to just focus on the foundation of breath and body, right? So to really build that foundation so we can carry that on to the rest of the retreat and, build in that compassion. My stomach is growling. I'm gonna name that. So when you're in front of the meal, then you pick up the fork, you take your first bite. When you take your first bite, you put the fork down and begin to chew and noticing the flavor, noticing how the teeth and the tongue and everything is just working its magic to help us continue the healthy process of the digestive system. So we just want to be mindful of that. When you have swallowed the food, then you pick up the fork and eat again. Okay. Also, just noticing any thoughts that arise for you, and then come back to your anchor of choice, the breath, or another anchor, and then just come back to, this is my meal. Okay. So you can turn off the screen, and we will be back at 1:10. All right. Oh, and another thing, please, no social media, continue with the silence and your mindfulness practice. Okay, see you at 1:10. Taking a few moments to ground ourselves again. Reconnecting with the environment, with the seat. With your anchor, whether that be the breath or a different anchor of your choice. Yeah. So before lunch, again, I wanted to help us by focusing on the foundation, the first foundation of mindfulness, which is the breath and body, so that we can be familiar with our breath and be familiar with our body, our true home, and so that we can feel safe when we dive deeper into the remaining of the retreat. And this retreat I titled Back to Wholeness, a self-compassion retreat, because again, that's been the theme for me. And what I recognized within myself and within my own journey was how interconnected we really are. And how I don't have to feel alone in whatever it is that I was going through, that this common humanity helped me to realize how connected we are, and how providing such a safe of refuge and a safe space to retreat with one another can really support our healing and transformation and true liberation. So I want to give a short talk on self-compassion, and hopefully to express a deeper inner standing of what self-compassion means to me. And it can hopefully resonate with you as we dive deeper into this practice. And I did forget to mention, there was one other thing to have a mirror. So if you have a pocket mirror, or you can use the mirror that's in your bedroom or bathroom, because after the talk, we're going to go into mirror work, and I'll explain more about that. So, and I just want to name that I get really nervous and sweaty when I have to talk. I think that that's always going to be with me. So I just got to like loosen up a little bit. So I'm going to read from All About Love by Bell Hooks, and just a one page. Self-love is the foundation of our loving practice. Without it, our other efforts to love fail. Given ourselves love, we provide our inner being with the opportunity to have the unconditional love we may have always longed to receive from someone else. Whenever we interact with others, the love we give and receive is always necessarily conditional. Although it is not impossible, it is very difficult and rare for us to be able to extend unconditional love to others, largely because we cannot exercise control over the behavior of someone else, and we cannot predict or utterly control our responses to their actions. We can, however, exercise control over our own actions. We can give ourselves the unconditional love that is the grounding for sustained acceptance and affirmation. When we give this precious gift to ourselves, we are able to reach out to others from a place of fulfillment and not from a place of lack. One of the best guides to how to be loving, self-loving, is to give ourselves the love we are often dreaming about receiving from others. There was a time when I felt lousy about my over 40 body, saw myself as too fat, too this, too that. Yet I fantasized about finding a lover who would give me the gift of being loved as I am. It is silly, isn't it, that I would dream of someone else offering to me the acceptance and affirmations I was withholding from myself. This was a moment when the maxim, you can never love anybody if you are unable to love yourself, made clear sense. And I add, do not expect to receive the love from someone else you did not give yourself. And I'll stop it right there. All about love, bell hooks. Yeah. Last year for me was the most disconnected year I felt in my entire life. It was pretty much extreme. And I wasn't just disconnected from other people. I was also disconnected from myself. And it was a year where I could not recognize who I saw in the mirror. I was filled with confusion. And a lot of the dialogue was between self-pity and on the other side, this amazing voice that was reminding me of my true divine power. And through this practice, it helped me to realize that before I can truly experience this deep, profound divine love, this care, this kindness, this nurture, tenderness from others, I had to really learn how to give those things to myself. And I think that's why we're here to really find deeper ways within this practice to give the things that we seek from others really to ourselves. But where do we start? Where do we start if we are filled with some guilt, confusion, anxiety, shame, maybe fear? Because not only was I experiencing these hindrances because I was in an unhealthy relationship or couldn't fully 100% grasp what was happening with my health at the time, I found myself in the space of between being or finding myself just in this energy of self-pity, but also trying to come out of that by really tapping into what I needed to do for my holistic healing and noticing what my needs were. In the Buddhist tradition, the Buddha speaks about this second arrow. And from my understanding, the first arrow is usually what we can be hit with, whether it's bad news, whether it's something just out of the norm that can cause pain, right? Something that took us off guard, something that's usually an unpleasant experience. But in this practice, it's explained that we can breathe into that moment, to pause into that first arrow moment and figure out what's the best way to take this wise and appropriate action, to be with it, to recognize it, to explore it. But when the Buddha spoke about the second arrow intensifies that first pain. And it's because we added on top of what happened unexpectedly, we added our worries, we added our fears, we added our doubts, and that makes it even more painful. So to me, my understanding is the second arrow is where we go from noticing the first arrow, right? Noticing that we're feeling the pain or we recognize this unpleasant experience. We come out of that and enter to the second arrow into a place where we are now identifying with it. So for example, like for me, when I got the first news of my health at the time, that was the first arrow. And with the practice of mindfulness and compassion, I was able to receive it and figure out what I needed to do next with it. In that pause, just taking that moment to figure out what was the next action. But somewhere down the line, I was hit with the second arrow with this self-pity. Why me? I shouldn't have done this. I should have done that, and that just made it worse for me. So the first arrow, we noticed that I feel bad, or I feel scared. I feel uncomfortable about this. But with the second arrow, we start to internalize, start to take it personally. I am bad. I do deserve this. This is my fault. So we go from feeling this ouch and to really feeling like, yeah, this is the self-pity. This, I'm just forever the victim, and I'm filled with worry and filled with fear. And we really begin to intensify that pain because of that. There's a story where the Buddha, before Buddha was Buddha, he was Siddhartha and really wanted to go on this path of enlightenment. And he would meditate under the tree. And as he would meditate under the tree to attain this enlightenment, Mara would come to visit. And Mara isn't a particular person. Mara is this representation of low vibrational energy. It could be for us to identify with Mara, like anxiety, fear, self-blame, or even the imposter syndrome, trying to be so perfect. Mara is just all of these different conditionings that we've created through our life experience. So one day when Siddhartha was meditating, the Buddha noticed Mara entering this space and just invited Mara to come here with me and come have some tea with me. And I really love that, because when I think about having tea, I think of me just being in this calm state, just really feeling relaxed and balanced and centered. And so what that story reminded me of, when Buddha invited Mara to come take a seat and have some tea with me, it's reminding us to take that pause and to be courageous enough to be with what's arising for us. And not just recognize it, not just see it, not just feel it, but to fully and deeply be with it without actually attaching ourselves to it. So with tea, Buddha sat with Mara. And with compassion, we can sit with our strong emotions and begin to peel the layers off of these conditionings that we've attained. We can begin to get to the root of these layers that sometimes come with the saying, I deserve this, or what's wrong with me? Why am I not worthy? I should have worked harder. I blame myself, it's my fault. With compassion, we can sit with these strong emotions and begin to forgive ourselves and accept ourselves and love ourselves, like fully and truly loving our full and whole self. We begin to get to these root of any shames and guilt or unworthiness because we're able to have tea with it, right? We're able to give compassion to it. So I invite you to ask yourself, to sit with yourself with this question. Am I living true to myself, or am I living based on any ideas that others have on me? Am I living from a limited space because of any false beliefs about myself? Am I living through other people's expectations? Because if we're really truly living from those spaces, how are we truly, really deepening our relationship to ourselves? Really, like, how can we do that if we're constantly worrying about people pleasing? or we're constantly thinking that we have to be even more perfect than what we are already? Have we truly, fully accepted our whole self? Do we truly know our whole selves? Do we set healthy boundaries? And I do find it very interesting because this also happened to me, where I wanted someone to fully love me and accept me for who I am, but I didn't really understand or fully understand who I truly was, because I was always living for other people, always wanted someone to accept me. It felt like I was wearing a mask most of my life. And I had to take that mask off, look myself in the mirror, and recognize who she is. All of it, all of me. But let's be real, like for some of us, we want to be accepted fully and wholly. We want someone to hear us so we can feel heard and feel safe. But do we know ourselves deep enough to know what it is that we actually have expectations for? Or are we just content with being nice and accepting whatever we can get because we don't truly know our own worth? And this goes for relationships, friendships, managers at a job, colleagues at a work at a job place, because sometimes we can find ourselves playing these roles to feel accepted in any place. So what I love about this practice is that it comes with so many useful gems, but I did narrow it down between mindfulness and self-compassion, because it's as if we're merging or uniting the mind and heart together. We have the mindfulness practices that can bring some deep insight, so the wisdom can pour through our day-to-day experiences, through the highs and the lows and all the in-betweens. And then on the other side, we have compassion, where we're learning how to really open up the heart. And self-compassion, it consists of mindfulness, common humanity, and self-kindness putting together to make up this self-compassion. So what is the alchemy of self-compassion? What really is the ingredient to help us embody tenderness, to truly embody true wholeness? Right. I like to think of self-compassion as this space where I can recognize this self-pity, put it to the side, and use self-compassion to actually help me resource myself during heavy times, to really help me to love and care for myself the way I know I deserve. And we can practice self-compassion and bring it to our light and our shadows, right? Because when we think of our wholeness, it's not just the aspects of ourselves that just look sprinkly and bright, but there are shadow sides of us, and we can love those sides too. When we are experiencing the tsunami of emotions that can occur, what often happens is that we go into survival mode. We go into parts of where the brain begins to take over. We go into this fight, flight, or freeze mode. And when that tends to happen, we are unable to connect to ourselves. We are cut off from our true wholeness. But the practice, the self-compassion practice, can bring us back to our wholeness, can help us to hold ourselves, to hold our light, to hold our shadows, to have tea with those strong emotions, hardships, or failures, instead of being self-critical. We can acknowledge what it is to be here. We can bow to it and accept it and feel it and explore it, even investigate it. Investigate why it's even here. So moving on, I'm going to invite us to explore what is here for us now in this very moment. And we're going to go into the mirror practice. And we're really just going to explore what is truly our felt experience, what comes up for us. Can we have tea for whatever's arising for us? You know, as we do this mirror work, can we bring compassion to what is here? Can we say, yes, I notice you. Come, let's have tea together. Okay. So for the next work, so we're going to do the mirror work. So for the first part, I'm going to play a song, and you're going to look at yourself in the mirror as the song plays. When the song ends, we'll go into a write-in meditation. And then after that, I'm going to guide us into a self-compassion meditation. Okay, so let me set that up. And welcome, Nadi. Welcome. Okay. Just wait a few seconds for Edith to return. And Nadi, if you can grab a mirror, if you have a pocket mirror, or you can use the mirror that's in your bathroom or your bedroom. And so going back to the beginning of our practice, where we was working with the breath and body. So remember to take some deep breaths in, and just remember Mara. If Mara comes, I like to say, girl, let's have some tea, okay? All right, hold on. Let me just look at the chat. So just give me thumbs up that you're ready. Remember to look into the mirror, look into your eyes.
Bitter hearts don't hold a smile. Troubled minds will wear you down. Use your past to get ahead. Hold your tears and think instead. You have to find a way to make it. These clouds are letting up for a while. Sometimes you gotta make the mirror your best friend. And maybe then
Remember to breathe.
you'll find some peace within.
Fully.
Stop hiding yourself. Stop hiding yourself. Love yourself when no one else can. No one else can. yourself, you will achieve. Just go on and brush your shoulders off. This bridge is one that you must cross. You have to find a way to make it. These clouds are letting up for a while. Sometimes you gotta make the mirror your best friend. And maybe then you'll find some peace within. Stop hiding yourself. Stop hiding yourself. Love yourself when no one else can. If you love yourself, you don't need nobody else. Don't need nobody else. No one can love you like you. If you look inside, you'll find where your strength resides. No one can love you like you. Sometimes you gotta make the mirror your best friend. And maybe then you'll find some peace within. Stop hiding yourself. Stop hiding yourself. Love yourself like no one else can. Stop hiding yourself. Stop hiding yourself. Love yourself like no one else can. Love yourself like no. Stop hiding yourself. Stop hiding yourself. Love yourself like no one else can.
So going straight into your writing meditation and just write in what came up for you. Taking a few moments here, maybe about a minute. Taking these moments to find your breath. Closing that last two sentences. And when you're ready, come into a seated position. And you can notice if there were any emotional discomforts that arise for you. Maybe they were some emotional stress, distress. Maybe you notice some of the ways you've probably indulged in self-pity or blame. And I invite you, as you take this seat, into a posture that feels right for you. Taking a few moments again to connect with the breath. And just noticing with that practice, what came up for you and where you feel any of these sensations or emotional distress or difficulties or strain, where you feel it in the body. So the practice of self-compassion takes us out of the self-pity or blame or even being cruel to ourselves to a place where we can resource ourselves during any of these unpleasant experiences. It's the first step in the self-compassion is to just notice whatever difficulty is here for you right now. Overall, this practice of mindfulness and these heart practices is really to help us out of suffering. However we identify with suffering. So any little moments of suffering, we can use self-compassion to be a practice of refuge, a practice to resource ourselves. Can invite it for tea. Name Mara. We name this is hurt. This is anxiety. This is what stress feels like in the body. And with this self-compassion practice, we also shift ourselves out of the self-pity by knowing that we are interconnected. We are feeling what others can feel. That we're not alone and we don't have to isolate ourselves. We are settled in. We're going to go deeper into the self-compassion practice. And for now, I invite you to just open your eyes and just take a moment here. We're going to go into another meditation, but if you need to, just stretching out just a little bit. If you need to like get up, I do. So that's why I'm naming that. Just circle my hips a little bit, shake something out. I'm in a cross-leg position, so my knees were a little wacky. Just moving the body just a little bit. Good. Hmm. Beautiful. So, this life is so fast-paced. We live in a society where toughness is celebrated, muscle is celebrated, and to have this toughness, this armor, this guard, it blocks the heart. It can block the heart. The restriction and the tightness and the holdings create barriers over the heart. And this practice of compassion, or any of the heart practices, actually can help us dissolve those barriers to really begin to open up this heart space. So in the Buddhist tradition, there are one side, the practice of mindfulness, insights, and wisdom. And on the other side, there are these heart practices, compassion being one of them. And there are 4 mind heart practices. You have loving kindness, which is called metta, compassion, karuna, empathetic joy, mudita, and equanimity, upekkha. And so the way I understand it is that these are all heart practices, loving practices. And even though they've always been read in that certain order, one is not looked at to be higher than the other. But rather, these are different flavors of love that the heart can taste in different situations. And they've always been inside of us, and they come out when we need them. So loving kindness is the heart that can feel the innocence and good qualities of ourselves and another being. Compassion, which is what we're going to practice and what we've been practicing today, is the quivering or tenderness of the heart that turns to our own suffering or the suffering of others. Empathetic joy is this supportive heart that is able to have selfless joy for someone else, right? You can see someone else happy and not for a moment say, oh, when would I get that moment? That's completely out. You're just completely just so happy for that person. And the way I understand that equanimity is this balanced heart that's turned towards wisdom. So today we are diving deeper into the compassion practice, of course, first on ourselves. And what I've experienced and also observed is that it's hard to give ourselves the love and compassion that we can so easily give to others. Some of us may find it easier to give that compassion and love to our friends, our romantic partner, even our boss, but we can find ourselves neglecting our own needs. But the truth is, we can only do that to the extent that we can do for ourselves. We can only extend that love as much as we can really truly give it to ourselves, because that's where it truly comes from first, is our own true hearts. And you heard me talk about self-pity and blame, because compassion is on a continuum, right? Everything is on a continuum. So compassion does have a near enemy, which is pity, right? We can sometimes confuse whether on ourselves with the self-pity is like, why me? I deserve this. Why didn't I work harder? Or having pity for someone else, which is a near enemy for compassion. And then the far enemy is cruelty. So we just want to be careful with that and really truly get to know compassion, self-compassion, as this truly a practice to help resource ourselves, to help us to have kind awareness to our moment-to-moment experience, to help us fully grasp what common humanity is, how we're so interconnected. and to help us to truly be kind to ourselves. So we're going to go into a compassion meditation. A lot of meditation today. So again, find a position of comfort and peace. Let's start with our compassion by being compassionate to our body. Now, I just want to also let you know that you can play with other meditation positions. You can lie down, you can stand up, you can walk. Seeing if you can find yourself 5 to 10% more comfortable. And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's very challenging for us to receive love and compassion for ourselves. So as you find your position of comfort, peace, and ease, I also invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. And I invite you to bring an image of a loved one. This is a loved one, someone who can make you feel safe, can make you feel heard, loved. This being, this loved one, can be here in the physical or have already transcended. It can also be a pet. Just imagining this being that fills you with great joy and happiness. Bring this being into your heart. And from your heart, give this phrase to this being. May you give yourself the compassion that you need. May you be kind to yourself. May you forgive yourself. May you be patient with yourself. May you be free from pain and sorrow. May you give yourself the compassion that you need. May you be kind to yourself. May you forgive yourself. May you be patient with yourself. See this precious being. Feel how loving it is to offer these phrases to this being. And continue to offer these phrases. May you be free from pain and sorrow. May you be free from anxiety. May your pain be erased. Notice what these phrases feels like in your body, in every cell, muscle, organ. Now, I invite you to imagine or bring an image of this being looking back at you. So this being is looking at you and now offering you these phrases. May you give yourself the compassion that you need. May you be kind to yourself. May you forgive yourself. May you be patient with yourself. May you be free from pain and sorrow. You can feel free to replace pain and sorrow with any of the challenging conditionings that arises for you. Fear, loss, grief, anger, anxiety. May you be free from those things. May you see yourself as worthy. May you love your body. May you be filled with wholeness. May you give yourself the compassion you need. May you give yourself the compassion you need. May you be kind to yourself. May you forgive yourself. May you be filled with wholeness. So now you know that there is a beautiful soul out there that would offer these phrases to you. You know that there is someone out there who sees you, who knows that you are deserving of love and kindness and compassion and care. So I invite you now to give these phrases to yourself, because you already witnessed that there is someone who knows that you're deserving of it. And so begin to feel the quivering of and open of the heart. Begin to feel the warmth, the tenderness in this heart space. And I invite you, after each phrase, to deepen the breath. And you allow the breath to really fill you with love and with safety, sacredness. May I give myself the compassion that I need. May I be kind to myself. May I forgive myself. May I be patient with myself. May I accept all of myself. May I have compassion for my body. May I be more accepting of the pain, the loss, anxiety, anger, or shame so that I can also be released from them. May my pain be eased. May I accept my wholeness. May I give myself the compassion that I need. May I be kind to myself. May I forgive myself. May I be patient with myself. May I have compassion for my body. May my pain be eased. May I accept my wholeness. For the remaining of the time, I invite you to be with and embrace the deep, full vibration of this compassion practice. And feel free to offer yourself any other phrases unique to your experience. Really fully give yourself this permission to offer yourself these phrases from an intimate space, from a safe space, a sacred space. This compassion practice is the gateway to an open heart, to really deepen your relationship to yourself, to be fully intimate with yourself and learning how to resource yourself. Continuing with your phrases. May I give myself the compassion that I need. May I be kind to myself. May I forgive myself. May I be patient with myself. May I have compassion for my body. May I thrive in my wholeness. May I give myself the compassion that I need. May I be kind to myself. May I forgive myself. May I be patient with myself. May I have compassion for my body. May I give myself the compassion that I need. Slowly making a transition. And again, at the end of the retreat, we will have time for questions and sharing anything that came up for us. So we're gonna move into a movement practice. And I'm gonna guide us into that. And okay. So if you wanna get your mat together, and then we'll go through a short flow just to move the body. We've been sitting for a while, and it's time to move that body with compassion. All right. Can you still hear me? Cool. All right. So we're gonna start in a child's pose. So we're gonna bring the big toes together, knees wide, sitting on the heels. Then we're going to walk the hands forward and bringing the forehead all the way down onto the mat. Bringing the chest down as well if you can. Begin to deepen the breath, filling up the lower back area. Feeling this sense of deep surrendering, letting go deeper. Feeling the surface beneath you, the mat, the ground, as it supports you. Noticing what the body feels like in this position. And you can create like a gentle massage in the forehead by gently moving the head in a no motion. Just massaging the forehead. Maybe here remembering the phrases. May I be kind, may I be compassionate and loving to myself.
And slowly we're going to transition to some spinal waves. Use the palm of the hands to help bring us up, lifting the buttocks slowly, rounding the upper back, coming into like a tabletop position, and then scooping the belly down towards the mat and bringing the buttocks back to the hill. So it's kind of like a wave or a roll in the spine. Moving slowly and deeply, and just seeing if you can let the breath guide the movement. Scooping the upper back up towards the top of the mat, scooping the belly down, bringing it back to that child's pose, and scooping up. Reminding ourselves that we are giving ourselves the compassion that we need, the care, the tenderness, the nurture.
Sorry, but I can't hear you. Maybe it's me. I'm gonna leave and then come back and try.
No, it's not you. It's the,
Oh, we can hear you now.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Sorry about that. Let's just do a few more stretches. So we're gonna come on to tabletop position. I'll just project my voice. From here, we're going to extend the right leg, the left leg and right arm. And scooping in the belly to really activate the core here. Taking full deep breaths in and out just to find balance in this position. Finding the way the body and the breath can unify. Inhale, and on the exhale, bringing it back in. Switching to the other side, right leg extended out, left arm out. And again, just seeing if the breath can strengthen you and balance you, center you in this position. Inhale, and then the exhale, bringing it back in. Beautiful. We're gonna inhale, drop the belly towards the mat, lifting up the head as far as we can. Exhale, round the upper back, scooping in the pelvic up towards the chin. Then inhale again, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. Exhale, round in. Now going at your own pace, really giving these spinal massages because we do sit a lot. And we carry a lot of load, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally. So these gentle postures and movements really can help us create softness into the areas that have been overworked. And if it feels right for you, you can even smile at the spine, offer it some gratitude, because it does overwork. It does more than it needs to. So we're just tending to it at this moment. Thanking it, but letting it know that it is okay to relax. Beautiful. Coming back into the neutral position on the tabletop. We're going to extend the right arm out. Inhale. On the exhale, thread that right hand under the left armpit, bringing the right shoulder down, the head down, and then extended the left arm above your head, sliding it, keeping it contact with the ground. Breathing deeply into your lower back area, which is also where the kidneys are found. And our kidneys in the Qigong tradition says that this is where our life force energy, our energy that we are inherently given is stored. So we want to nourish this area so we can have full circulation of that energy. And through our breath, the breath work, we can actually cultivate more energy than what we were born with. So the kidneys are very special. Inhale, lift them back up. Exhale back to that tabletop position. Prepare for the other side. Inhale, lifting the left arm up. Exhale, threading it under the right armpit, bringing the left shoulder down, the head down. Sliding the right hand up over the head. Breathing into that space where our energy is stored, where energy is cultivated. That in the breath really begin to nourish you. Inhale, on the exhale, coming back to center. Back to that tabletop position. We're gonna cross the legs behind us. And then come into a seated position. Then we're going to extend the left leg out. Bring in the right foot in. Gonna lift the hands up, palms facing each other. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold as far as you can. Touching the toes, the ankles, the knees, wherever feels gentle and comfortable for you. Noticing if there are still areas of tension and tightness. Seeing if the breath can open space in those areas. From there, we're going to take the left hand, bring it in the inside of the left leg. Now you can stay here. You can bring the forearms down onto the mat, or you can bring the left hand to the right knee. Then we're going to extend the right arm out, reaching up to the sky, looking at that middle finger if you can. Inhale and exhale deeply. Drop the shoulders. Inhale here. On the exhale, bring that hand behind us. Fingers have space between them. Look straight ahead, looking at your left foot. Extend your left arm straight out. And we're going to inhale, lift up. Really bringing that arm, nice stretch overhead. Exhale, coming back down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale down. Slowly bring the back hand to meet the front. Sliding the left leg in, soles of the feet facing each other. Inhale here, nice, neutral, straight back. Exhale, bring the chest as far as you can towards the feet without grounding the upper back. You can use your elbows to push the knees down a little further. Another area where we store so much tension and tightness is the hips. So important to release tension in this area so that our creative juices can flow. We can move more freely, feel lighter. Inhale, exhale, coming back to center, lifting up. Extend that right leg out. Bring in the left foot in the inner right thigh. Inhale, raise the hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, coming down as far as you can. Touching the toes, ankles, shin, knees. And even if we take 5 to 10 minutes a day to just move the body in such a gentle way, is really practicing this compassion towards our body. Really just being intimate with the body, noticing areas that need more attention from us, areas that seem stronger than others, more flexible, more mobile than any other area. It's really getting to know your body intimately. From here, we can bring the right hand, the inside of the right leg, dropping the forearm if you can, if you need to, or placing that right hand on the left knee. Inhale, extend the left arm up towards the ceiling, looking at that middle finger if you can. Inhaling deeply, remember to drop the shoulder down. Twisting poses are so detoxifying for us. Exercising the organs, really stretching from the inside out. Opening meridians and balancing chakras. Inhale here, and on the exhale, let's bring that upper hand down behind us. Fingers have space between them. Looking at your right foot, extend the right hand out. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming back down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, back down. One more time. Inhale, lifting up fully. Really reach in there and slowly exhale, coming all the way back down. Extend that left leg back out. And find yourself lying down on your back into Shavasana pose. Palms facing up, and then we're gonna go into a mudra, compassion mudra. So you're gonna take the tip of your thumb and touch it with the tip of the middle finger. Placing the hands by your side. And I ask you, can you allow this surface beneath you to really support you? Truly think about all the support you have given to others, maybe to your job, maybe to a loved one, even to strangers. And how often do you find yourself supported by yourself? Can you allow yourself to be supported? Do you feel supported? Can you sink in deeper into this position? Can you truly let go? Can you let go of the worries, of the fears, anxiety, shame, guilt? Can you just let that go into the earth? So Mother Earth can recycle it, alchemize that into higher vibrational energies that can better serve you. Energy is always flowing, always moving. And we can attract the energies that can better serve us to live out our true potential, to be our best self, to be our compassionate self, to be more kind to ourselves, loving to ourselves, to nurture ourselves. Take a deep breath in through the nostrils, expand the belly. Exhale, drop it even more to the surface beneath you. Continue to take deep breaths in and out. Maybe you want to breathe out from the mouth. When you breathe out through the mouth, you can imagine that everything that does not serve your vessel, your beautiful sacred vessel, is being released out. When you breathe in through the nostrils, you're breathing in nature's essence. You're breathing in the spiritual, loving, sacred essence to really fill your entire vessel. With every breath, let it be nourishing. Let it be food for all of your cells, all of your organs, tissues, fascias, tendons. May all your systems in your body work in harmony. Mindfully, you could say to yourself, may I give myself the compassion that I need. May I give myself the compassion that I need. May I be kind to myself. May I truly accept and love my full, whole self. May I be compassionate to myself. Slowly turn to one side, keeping the knees bent. Let the bottom hand support your head. Let the top hand just rest wherever it feels more comfortable. May this position be a reminder of the nurture that you have access to, the care that you have access to, the refuge that you have access to, the support you have access to, the love you have access to, full compassion that you have access to. And the deep rest that you have access to. Resting is love. When you're ready, you can slowly come up to seated position. Crossing the legs. No rush. May you always remember the compassion and the love and the nurture and the care that is your birthright. Resting is your birthright. Just taking just a few moments to center yourself in this position. We slowly come into close. I want to thank y'all for riding out for this long. This is truly some deep work though, you know, and so I'm really proud because sometimes it can feel overwhelming, or we can find ourselves feeling even more tired just being with these practices with ourselves. So I thank you. I thank you for being here. I thank you for sharing space and just reminding us, circling back to the theme of this retreat, which is back to wholeness. And to really, hopefully, that's something that I've said can help you bring that compassion to both your light and your shadows, to all that makes you who you are. And that we can slowly bring compassion to those conditionings, that we can have tea with Mara and begin to recognize it, be with it deeply, investigate it, so that it can start to dissolve, start to be in peace with those things, and live with more ease within the body, have more peace in our mind, openness in our heart, and really, truly know that we have everything we need inside of us. And to also know that we are not alone, that our sufferings and our joys are all interconnected. So yeah, I'm gonna leave this part now for any questions, shared experience. We have kind of come to a close of the silent retreat part. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we can, if you have any questions or if you want to share any discoveries, just how things were for you, the silent retreat. Also, I'm curious to know how it was with Eden in silence. So yeah.
I had one question about something you said earlier.
Mhm.
It was like, I think you were naming different things, and there was one that you said that, I don't know if you said it meant that like this idea, this idea that you could be happy for someone, right? Like if someone shares something like
Yeah,
happiness, and there's no because you know that
yeah.
I'm working on, because I hate it when it happens. And
Mhm.
usually it happens with my friends. Like sometimes it's almost like it's easier for me to get happy for other people than there's that little, I get happy for my friends. I really do. But that sometimes there is that little, like that little feeling before the happiness kicks in. So that's what you said. And I wanted to know the word, because that's something that I've like talked about. And like, I just, I don't like that. I don't like that feeling.
Mhm. That's beautiful that you can even recognize that. Yeah, I had that as well, especially for me, one of them was like, if I see one of my friends get married or have babies, it's like, I'm so happy when it's my time. Like, that's called empathetic joy. Empathetic joy.
Yeah.
Selfless joy.
Yeah, I think one thing that helped me when I brought it up with the therapist was like, she kind of reminded me like, you're not really being a bad person. It's just that you're not accepting yourself for who you are.
Yeah.
So it's actually like a way that manifests. So it's more like not so much jealousy like I thought it was, because I was like, why do I get so jealous? It's just like, it's also just this idea of reminding yourself, like, accept yourself for who you are. Like, that's not you, or you're maybe not there, it's not your time, whatever. Okay, empathy. I like that. Yeah, I like that expression when you were explaining it.
Yeah. And when we continue these compassion practices, you really start to get to a place where there is contentment. There is this true, full happiness and acceptance of your true, full, whole self. You start to embody that. And it does take practice, because where I'm at right now is a journey, a huge, fulfilling journey. And, there used to be times where I was just so filled with worry and anxiety, and I started to really be with this word embodiment. Like really, like I saw that it was trending, but really, let me practice with this. And when you start to embody your wholeness, you start to notice different shifts. It starts within, but then everything else just seems so grand and beautiful because you have really came to a point of full acceptance, of full love and gratitude for all that is part of your experience, all of it. So when you are at that joyous state for someone else, you really feel that because you have been so full of love and compassion for your own self and wherever you are in your life.
Mm.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think I like I think at one point you said that like for your journey, like you were so disconnected,
Mhm.
like the year you were disconnected. But then I was like, yeah, I think it's the same thing, but for some reason, like that unplug was necessary for me to be able to embody or starting to believe the embodiness of self. And I
Mhm.
feel this is like I was really disconnected, and the end of the year I can finally say like, okay, I'm reconnecting myself a little bit more in a different way. So it's like this workshop, this seminary was really necessary in the way, and I didn't know it. It's like it's just like things I'm trying to live more in the moment, and the anxiety of like because it's my first time, like, and it's online. It's like, how is it gonna be long? I'm always in silence too, but it's like, what kind of silence I'm supposed to
Mhm.
get deeper than the silence that I'm already in. For sure. It's very interesting, and yeah, I'm glad I was part of it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were part of it too. And it just, yeah, it can be very intense sometimes being like in this silence, but like a silence with practice. Because sometimes, just to go back to what I was explaining in the disconnected part, sometimes we can be silenced to where there's dissociation. Because it's important to have a space of refuge. Sometimes we need to disconnect to connect or reconnect. And then sometimes we do it in a way that's harming for us. We isolate ourselves because of some sort of hindrances, fear, anxiety, and those things. Or we feel like what we're going through is unique to us and no one would fully understand, or you don't want to come off as a victim, So that's that self-pity part. So for me, that disconnection, because I'm a loner. I'm always like to myself, but I noticed the difference between being on this disconnected autopilot kind of energy versus the disconnection to actually practice being present with myself. The practice of really peeling off layers to heal myself and to transform myself and really try to live this true liberated life. So that disconnecting phase for me was part of my depression, and the dissociation part, which is the scary part, which you feel like you're not even connected to yourself. Like it just feels very floaty and that's my experience. It may feel different from other people, but I felt very floaty, like my spirit was leaving my body. And I knew that I had to speak up soon because it just felt like I was contributing to my demise, So just to name that sometimes it's important to know why we're isolating ourselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, I think there's like a lot of stuff that came up for me. too. Like, as you were talking, I thought of some like, and I won't go too in depth, but just like, when you said the thing about inviting the story of the Buddha before he was the Buddha, you know, that was interesting. I've heard it, I heard it recently a little bit with this book. I was like, this audiobook I was listening to around like big magic and like when an idea comes in, like inviting it in. But usually when it comes to like anxiety or fear, it's always kind of been the opposite, like acknowledging it, but like pushing it out mentally, you know? So I thought that really was like interesting for me to think about, because I've had this fear, which I've been working on for this past year around death. And I've identified it. It happened like my paternal grandma passed away. And then one of my best friend's mom passed away. And it was like that first, even though I've been around death for a while, like the closest to me that it had happened. So when you said that, I was like, oh, like that'll be something I will try. Like, actually, you know what? Like, just come on in. But like, how is that gonna manifest? I don't know. But that's the one that came for me, because I always thought of it as like having a relationship with, and I've been changing my relationship with death. But I think that was like something that was like helpful. And then like this idea of, when you were talking about, I think you were sharing a little bit about your own experience with self-compassion, right? And, you know, I've been getting more into my writing and more into storytelling and trying to explore different ways of storytelling, whether, like, I don't know how that's going to manifest fully, but one of the things that I've been grappling with is that idea of like sharing my stories and tying my culture, but in a way that brings out the strengths and the joy and not victimizing the struggle. And that's something that I'm like, want to be intentional about, right? Like, I don't want to become a victim. And I know that words are powerful. So I don't want to, you know, just become a victim of my struggle or that of my ancestors. I want to flip those narratives, but that's something I'm still working on. So sometimes I write stuff and then I'm like, nah, I feel like that's kind of, again, victimizing it. And I'm trying to like actually remind people that like, no, like our ancestors weren't just the struggle, you know? So that came up for me a lot too.
I definitely want to talk on the part with the victimization. So with this practice, we become so aware, and we bring not only just the insight to this awareness or try to investigate this awareness, but we also bring this love to it, right? So when we are speaking of what our ancestors have gone through, what we've gone through, we can use the practice of mindfulness to allow the insights to flow through as to why they experience what they experience. We also begin to have these heart practices to bring compassion to it. So we're not victimizing ourselves or making our ancestors look like a victim, but we observe this is what is the reality of it. But in spite of that, this is where we are today. Because those things can give us strength. They can give us wisdom. And it's not so much of like only highlighting it. It's just acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we acknowledge it. Oh, this is what happened. Or this is what's happening. But we're not a victim because we're not going into self-pity. We're not saying, oh, because our ancestors went through this, I deserve this because I went through this and they went through that. No, we're saying, this was the experience. This may be inside of me and now I got to heal intergenerational trauma. But I'm going to do that with some love. I'm going to do that with wisdom and make wise actions because of it. So we come from a place of victimization to a place of empowerment because of that. We don't have to run from that. So
Yeah. No, yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's kind of what I've been kind of talking through of like, it's not like sharing it because it happened, right? Or it's influenced you, but not, oh, like exactly what you said, really. Yeah.
And I,
Yeah.
and
I like how you put it.
Yeah, and I love the clip you shared with your storytelling. So I
Oh
can't
yeah.
hear more.
Yeah.
I'm
I've been, but yeah, I'll pause for now because
okay. So yeah, is there anything else? Cool. I'm really excited that you did this for me, with me. And I will email you like a form for like feedback. This is something I want to do continuously. Um, I have been shifting more towards women in general, but I also have like a section for women who've experienced domestic abuse, because that's been part of my story. So even though this is for my course, for my certification, this is something that I'm using as I continue my mission. So feedback will be appreciated, to help me. Just let me know areas where I can improve. And, I still get nervous, so that's probably going to be with me for a while. But, and I'm really proud of y'all, because silent retreats it's deep work, and it's beautiful that you took the time out to just really be with yourself and to really dive deeper into these practices to just help you really truly liberate yourself from any suffering and hindrances that you have trouble with. And it's a practice. So may you continue to take what works for you in this retreat. What didn't work for you, leave it here, and just continue to go through life, navigating through life, figuring life out. But just always remember to be kind to yourself, rest when you need to, and know that you are more than capable of giving yourself the love and the compassion that you need. And it comes from you first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
thank
Yeah.
you both. This was great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you have any other questions, you can email me or DM me in the Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right, bye, both of you.